A person who can create strong boundaries will never have inner peace, and there are very good reasons for that. And in this video, I will explore those reasons. So here's the thing. Boundaries are an essential part of a healthy psychology. And they're an essential part of a human being that knows what they want, knows what they don't want, and has a certain sense of guiding themselves through life and, well, frankly, discarding those people that are in conflict with that. Now, here's why it's related to inner peace. These two things are very related. And I know that because as a person, I think I used to have a very hard time with boundaries. I did not understand them because, like most people, the way that I try to enforce the boundary is by trying to control other people. That's a typical way that people go about creating boundaries. Here's why they do that. Oh boy, this is, let's get into it. You know, when you have a degree of lack of self-control, you typically want to control other people. Now, it's not always the case. There are other reasons for controlling other people, but that might give you a hint of where I am heading. When you have a degree of fear in yourself, a degree of lack in something, in some area in yourself, typically what you will want to do is you will try to project that onto other people. You will want that other people would fill that void in you, fill that desire, fill that need, fill that hole, or whatever. You know, the most typical way that we start thinking about boundaries is in personal relationships. Usually, right, we start caring about boundaries in intimate relationships because that's when people get really close together. And you know, how do you match this? Where is this too much? Where is it not enough? It becomes an important question to ask yourself. The reason why I wanted to do this video is because it took me many years to realize that it's not about your ability to project force onto another. A boundary is not that. It's not psychologically aggressive in any way, shape, or form. And here is why. It's because in order to establish a proper boundary, you have to be very aware of who you are, of what you actually like, and at which parts do you actually feel violated. So there's two parts of setting a good boundary. First of all, you have to really know what you like and what you don't like. And why do I say really know? Because it's easy to err on two sides. On one hand, it's easy to get into ego thinking and trying to overly control the situations, but it's also easy to sort of desensitize yourself, especially if you're not used to establishing boundaries and going, oh, okay, that's fine, you can do that, right? That sort of a thinking. You have to neutralize both of these sides and be careful not to err on one side or the other and allow yourself to become relatively neutral. So that's one part of it. The other part is realizing that you won't be able to set a boundary properly unless you are capable, at least to a degree, ideally the more the better, to fulfill the need that you're trying to get from another person by fulfilling it yourself, or in other words, understanding that the fulfillment of the need is at least partially fulfillable by yourself. In simple terms, you kind of don't desperately need another person to fulfill that need. That is the most important thing about this. And it's the hardest one because to properly do that, you actually have to be a very responsible adult, taking full responsibility for your own psychological development, taking full responsibility for that, admitting that, yes, you are trying to get needs met by other people. But you know what? A big reason why you do that is because you have psychological immaturities, right? Let's say you want to fill a certain need with a partner, right? Companionship, all of those things. Then they do something to upset you. Well, here's the thing. You might love them very much and you might want companionship. And you might say, you know, a human being is a social creature. So they have to have a companion. Ergo, I really want this person. Maybe I love them, all of that. But here's the thing. If you're not capable of conceptualizing the idea that, you know what, if they misbehave in a serious way, not only can I let them go, but I'm also capable of finding companionship with someone else, right? It means I have a degree of confidence and stability in myself. If I have that confidence and stability in myself, I can establish a proper boundary. Do you know why? Because I can state a boundary as a boundary, not as a threat, not as a pseudo-aggressive finger wagging. I can just say, listen, if you do this, I won't be able to maintain a relationship with you, okay? It's not about threatening, it's about just saying how it is. That's the difference between a boundary and some empty threat or some silly childish ultimatum. No, it's just if you do this, then that's how it is. That's it. It's not a threat. It's not even something that I will do to you. No, it's just me. If you do this, if this continues, if this doesn't get fixed, I can't continue this. And do you see where this stems from? It stems from not trying to control the other person, but saying, listen, I value myself, I love myself, I know what I'm worth, and I'm saying these things, verbalizing them, but be careful not to get into this egoic territory of going, I am very great. That's nonsense. You're just inflating your ego. But you have to have this neutral analysis of going, no, I'm capable of good things. I want to have a good relationship. This is not good for me. Ergo, if this continues, if this happens, if this doesn't get fixed, I'm not capable of continuing this relationship. That's it. You do what you want. You do what you want, but that is my position. That's a proper boundary. And once you start establishing boundaries like that with people, you'll start feeling a degree of peace that you never felt before, because establishing a boundary will be the secondary thing. See, the biggest realization that leads to inner peace when related to boundaries is not the boundary itself. It's realizing that you are someone that can fulfill themselves. This is why I so believe in this topic of learn to manage your own mind, learn to manage your own emotions. It's possible. It's not even that complex. Once you learn that, at least a little bit, a light bulb will will light up in your head. You'll go, wait a second. So I can actually create these psychological states? Yes! You're not a slave to yourself or other people. You're capable of influencing things. Influencing yourself, which is the only thing that you need to influence, frankly. If you're capable of doing that, you're capable of establishing boundaries. If you're capable of establishing boundaries, you'll feel at peace. Not because you threatened someone into a boundary, but because you know that you can maintain the boundary. That's where the peace comes from. Not from the threat or something like that. From the peace of knowing that yes, I can, and yes, I can, and yes, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And that kind of a confidence resulting from proper and honest inner growth and self-acceptance, nobody can take that away from you, and you'll feel amazing, and life will be great, and your relationships in terms of quality will skyrocket. It'll become way better than it ever was. And you'll realize that most of the issues that you had in relationships were pretty much self-made. You created them. So I hope this helps. Try it out. Think about it. Let me know what you think. Life becomes very amazing once you start establishing those boundaries. You become peaceful. You become okay with whatever happens, because internally you got it. You got it. You're fine. You're going to be okay. Nothing to worry about.